The silent preparation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Luna Base Archimedes, her eyes fixed on the sleek Meridian vessel slowly orbiting Earth. To any outside observer, she appeared to be watching the alien ship with the same wonder and awe expected of a primitive species encountering advanced civilizations. In reality, her mind was processing quantum calculations that would have astonished their supposed benefactors. Quantum signature analysis complete. Director Chen whispered the subtle neural interface only she could hear. They're scanning us again. 11th time this week. Sarah allowed herself a small smile, knowing the Meridians would interpret it as simple amazement at their technology. They had no idea their scans were being analyzed and decoded by quantum systems, far more advanced than anything they possessed. For 6 months, the Meridian Collective had been evaluating Earth for potential membership in their galactic alliance. 6 months of careful observation, gentle guidance, and subtle tests of humanity's capabilities. 6 months of the greatest deception in human history. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Admiral David Santos reviewed the latest data from Project Prometheus. Quantum-enabled displays showed the true extent of humanity's preparations, a network of advanced defense systems and technologies that the Meridian's superior scanning systems couldn't detect. Status report, he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of 20 years of covered operations. Dr. Maya Patel, head of quantum physics development, stepped forward. Her dark eyes gleamed with pride as she brought up a holographic display of their latest achievement. The quantum entanglement grid is complete, Admiral. We can now coordinate instantaneous communication and defense responses across the entire solar system without relying on conventional signals the Meridians could detect. Santos nodded, studying the complex network of quantum-linked satellites and stations that remained invisible to traditional scanning methods. The Meridians, for all their advanced technology, had abandoned quantum mechanics as a dead end centuries ago. Their rigid technological hierarchy couldn't conceive of the breakthroughs humanity had achieved by thinking differently. And our special project? Santos asked, his voice dropping even lower. Maya's smile widened as she keyed in a specific command. The holographic display shifted, showing a new type of vessel unlike anything the Meridians had ever encountered. The Quantum Strike Fleet is ready. 20 ships, each equipped with our quantum phase technology. They can move through normal spacetime in ways the Meridians believe impossible. The Admiral allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. For decades, humanity had suspected they weren't alone in the universe. Instead of waiting to be discovered, they had prepared. When the Meridians finally arrived with their peaceful evaluation mission, humans were ready. In orbit around Neptune, hidden by quantum fields that bent both light and conventional scanning methods, Commander James Chen, no relation to the director, ran his crew through another silent drill. Their ship, the QSS Normandy, represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a vessel that could phase through conventional matter, bypass traditional shields, and strike with weapons that operated on principles the Meridians had never considered. Contact, his sensor officer called out in a harsh whisper, despite the fact that sound couldn't travel in space. Meridian patrol vessel passing through the outer system. James watched calmly as the massive alien ship cruised past their position, its crews completely unaware of the human vessel barely a kilometer from their hull. The Meridians' arrogance was their greatest weakness. They assumed that any civilization that hadn't achieved their level of conventional technology must be primitive in all aspects. They never considered that humanity might have taken a completely different path. Back on Earth, in the hidden chambers of the Global Defense Council, Sarah Chen prepared for another meeting with the Meridian evaluation team. The aliens believed they were subtly testing humanity's technological capabilities and response to various scenarios. In reality, every test was an opportunity for humans to gather more data on Meridian technology, while maintaining their carefully crafted image of an emerging civilization eager to learn from their superiors. Director, her assistant's voice came through the quantum link. The Meridian ambassador requests your presence for another cultural exchange. Sarah straightened her uniform, checking that every detail projected exactly the image they wanted the Meridians to see. Inform the ambassador I would be honored, she replied, using the slightly over-formal tone the aliens expected from primitive species. As she walked to the meeting chamber, Sarah reflected on the irony of their situation. The Meridians prided themselves on their careful, methodical evaluation of emerging civilizations. They believed their process was foolproof, that no lesser species could hide significant technological advancement from their scans and tests. But they had never encountered humans before, never faced a species that had spent centuries preparing for first contact, developing technologies and strategies specifically designed to counter advanced civilizations, never dealt with a race that had turned their own assumptions about technological development against them. In 3 days, the Meridian Collective would present their final evaluation of Earth. They would offer humanity a choice: accept their guidance and protection, or face isolation from the galactic community. They expected either grateful acceptance or futile resistance. They were about to learn that humanity had a third option: deception's edge. Ambassador Zixtal of the Meridian Collective stood before the curved window of their diplomatic vessel, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Their biomechanical enhancements processed countless data streams from the ongoing evaluation of this peculiar world. Everything about the humans confused the standard protocols. They advanced too quickly in some areas, too slowly in others, and their development patterns defied traditional models. Senior Analyst Zixtal addressed their subordinate. Present your findings. The analyst's crystalline interface glowed as it projected the latest assessment. The humans continue to demonstrate irregular learning patterns. Ambassador, they appear remarkably quick to grasp some concepts while struggling with others that should be simpler. The analyst paused, mandibles clicking in frustration. It's as if their technological development follows no logical progression. Zixtal's outer membrane rippled with concern. In 3 centuries of evaluating emerging species, they had never encountered such inconsistencies. Yet the deeper scans showed nothing unusual, just the expected level of technology for a pre-stellar civilization. Deep within Titan's methane seas, Dr. Maya Patel received the quantum-encrypted feed of the Meridians' conversation. Their quantum surveillance network captured every word, every data stream, every subtle communication between the alien vessels. She allowed herself a moment of pride. The Meridians' confusion was the product of years of careful planning. They're still trying to reconcile the contradictions, she reported to Admiral Santos through their quantum link. Operation Silent Guardian remains undetected. The Admiral's holographic presence nodded with satisfaction. And the quantum shield network. Maya gestured, bringing up a complex display showing the true state of Earth's defenses. Quantum-linked satellites and stations formed an invisible web throughout the solar system, each capable of instantaneous response to any threat. The Meridian scans passed right through them, seeing only what humans wanted them to see. The network is complete, Maya confirmed. We can activate the full defensive grid at a moment's notice. The Meridians won't know what hit them if they try anything hostile. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden preparations continued. In the asteroid belt, mining operations that appeared primitive to Meridian scans were actually producing quantum-processed materials for the growing fleet. On Mars, dust storms concealed massive underground facilities where the next generation of quantum ships took shape. Commander James Chen watched from the QSS Normandy as another Meridian patrol passed through Saturn's rings. His ship's quantum phase technology rendered them completely invisible, not through traditional stealth, but by partially shifting them out of normal spacetime. The Meridian sensors couldn't detect them because they literally didn't exist in the same dimensional plane. Status of the fleet, he queried his executive officer. All 20 ships report ready, sir, Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez responded. Quantum cores synchronized, weapons primed, but dormant. We can transition to full combat status in under 30 seconds. James nodded, studying the tactical display. The Meridians had positioned their ships throughout the solar system in what they thought was an undetectable patrol pattern. In reality, humanity had mapped every movement, analyzed every tactic, and prepared countermeasures for any possible scenario. Back on Earth, Director Sarah Chen sat through another evaluation session with the Meridian Cultural Team. The aliens believed they were cleverly testing human responses while gathering intelligence. Every question, every scenario they presented was designed to assess Earth's true capabilities. "Tell us," the lead evaluator asked, their translator converting alien speech patterns into perfect English. "How would your people respond to a hypothetical first contact with a hostile species?" Sarah carefully maintained her expression of thoughtful consideration. The Meridians had no idea they were actually testing their own responses, revealing their tactical doctrine and strategic thinking with every scenario they presented. "We would hope for peaceful resolution," she replied, knowing the Meridians would interpret her diplomatic answer as a sign of primitive naivety. "Earth has no significant space combat capability. We would rely on the wisdom and protection of advanced civilizations like the Meridian Collective." The evaluator's biomechanical interfaces pulsed with satisfaction, exactly as predicted. They loved nothing more than hearing lesser species acknowledge their dependence on Meridian protection. Their certainty of superiority blinded them to the possibility of deception. In the hidden command center beneath Mount Fuji, Admiral Santos received another update from the Quantum Surveillance Network. The Meridians were preparing for their final evaluation presentation, the moment when they would reveal their true intentions and present Earth with their ultimatum. "All departments," he broadcast through the quantum link, "initiate final preparation sequences. Operation Silent Guardian enters Phase 3 in 48 hours. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, humans continued their elaborate deception while preparing for the moment of revelation. Every Meridian scan was allowed to see exactly what they expected, a promising but primitive species ready for guidance. Every test was met with carefully calculated responses that reinforced their preconceptions. The Meridians believed they were the masters of evaluation, that their methods were foolproof. They had never imagined that a lesser species might spend decades preparing specifically to deceive them. Never considered that their own arrogance could be turned against them. In 2 days, they would learn just how wrong they were. The revelation. The Great Hall of the United Earth Council gleamed under soft lighting, its marble floors and wooden panels carefully chosen to project exactly the image the Meridians expected, impressive by human standards, quaint by their own. Ambassador Zixtel stood before the assembled human representatives, their biomechanical enhancements projecting an air of benevolent superiority that made Director Sarah Chen's hidden smile grow slightly wider. "Honored representatives of Earth," Zixtel began, their translator converting the words into perfect English. "The Meridian Collective has completed its evaluation of your world. We have found your species, promising, if somewhat uneven in development." Sarah watched the alien diplomat carefully, her quantum neural interface recording every subtle shift in their biosignatures. Around the chamber, other human leaders maintained perfect expressions of attentive respect, while beneath the surface, quantum communications flew between hidden command centers throughout the solar system. "The collective has decided," Zixtal continued, "to offer Earth its protection and guidance. Under our supervision, your species will be gradually introduced to appropriate technologies. In return, we require only your complete cooperation and acceptance of Meridian oversight in all matters of technological development." The ambassador's outer membrane rippled with what humans had learned was their expression of absolute certainty. "We understand this may seem overwhelming. However, the alternative would be unfortunate. Unprotected emerging civilizations often fall prey to less benevolent species." Admiral Santos, watching through quantum-linked feeds from his command center on Titan, gave a slight nod. The Meridians had played their hand exactly as predicted. The same strategy they'd used to subjugate 17 other species over the past 3 centuries. "Ambassador," Sarah rose, her voice carefully modulated to hide any trace of triumph. "Humanity is honored by your offer. Before we respond, however, we would like to share something with you." She gestured to an aide, who activated what appeared to be a primitive holographic projector. The Meridian delegation watched with poorly concealed amusement as the device hummed to life. Their sensors indicated it was using basic photonic technology, centuries behind their own capabilities. Then everything changed. The primitive projector flickered, and suddenly the entire chamber transformed. The wooden panels dissolved, revealing advanced quantum state displays. The marble floor became transparent, showing a massive facility extending kilometers below. Most shockingly, the human leader's neural interfaces, previously completely invisible to Meridian scans, blazed to life with energy signatures that shouldn't have been possible. "What?" Zixtal stumbled back, their biomechanical systems screaming warnings about technology that defied their understanding. "This is impossible." "No, Ambassador," Sarah replied, her voice now carrying the full authority of her true position as Earth Defense Director. "This is humanity." Across the solar system, hidden quantum facilities activated. The Meridian sensors, previously detecting only scattered primitive human outposts, suddenly found themselves drowning in data as humanity's true technological infrastructure revealed itself. Commander James Chen, aboard the QSS Normandy, received the signal he'd been waiting for. "All ships, execute Operation Silent Guardian Phase 3. 20 quantum ships phased into normal spacetime, appearing impossibly close to the Meridian vessels that had been secretly patrolling the solar system. The alien crews found themselves staring at technology that operated on principles their science had dismissed as impossible centuries ago. In the council chamber, Sarah walked slowly toward the stunned Meridian ambassador. "You see, Zixtal, humanity learned long ago that we weren't alone in the universe. We knew eventually someone would come. Someone advanced, powerful, and absolutely certain of their superiority. So we prepared." The quantum displays showed the full extent of human advancement. Ships that could phase through normal matter, weapons that operated on principles the Meridians had never imagined, and defense systems that made their most advanced scanning technology look primitive in comparison. "While you were evaluating us," Sarah continued, "we were evaluating you. Every test you ran, every scan you performed, showed us exactly how your technology worked. And more importantly, showed us its limitations." Admiral Santos's voice echoed through the chamber, quantum communications making it impossible for the Meridians to trace its origin. "Your entire civilization is built on the assumption that technological progress follows a predictable path. You abandoned quantum mechanics centuries ago, declaring it a dead end. You never imagined that another species might take that abandoned path and discover possibilities you had missed." Zixtal's outer membrane had lost all color, their biomechanical enhancements struggling to process what they were seeing. "You deceived us. All this time." "We did," Sarah acknowledged, "just as you deceived 17 other species before us. The difference is, humanity prepared for this moment. We developed our technology in secret, specifically to counter species like yours who believe their way is the only way forward." Throughout the solar system, Meridian crews found themselves surrounded by human ships that their sensors couldn't properly detect, operating on principles their science said were impossible. The carefully crafted image of a primitive species grateful for guidance had dissolved, revealing something they had never encountered before, a civilization that had advanced along a completely different technological path. "Now, Ambassador," Sarah's voice carried the weight of humanity's true power, "I believe it's time to negotiate a real agreement, one between equals." The Meridian command ship Eternal Dominance hung motionless in high Earth orbit, its crew still struggling to process the events of the last 6 hours. Around them, vessels that defied their understanding of physics maintained perfect formation, appearing and disappearing at will as they shifted through quantum states. Inside the ship's command center, High Commander Vexnor watched with mounting horror as their most advanced scanning systems failed to make sense of human technology. Impossible, they muttered, their crystalline interfaces flickering with stress. Their entire technological base violates fundamental laws of physics. No, Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through their communication system with perfect clarity, despite the Meridian's attempts to block all external signals. Your understanding of physics is simply incomplete. The quantum displays aboard the human vessels showed every detail of the Meridian ship's internal systems, not through conventional scanning technology, but through quantum entanglement principles that allowed them to observe reality at a fundamental level the Meridians had never achieved. Admiral Santos stood on the bridge of the QSS Prometheus, humanity's first quantum dreadnought. Unlike the massive, energy-intensive ships of the Meridian fleet, the Prometheus was sleek and efficient, its quantum drive allowing it to accomplish with minimal power what the aliens required enormous energy expenditure to achieve. Your civilization made a critical mistake centuries ago, Santos explained to the Meridian commander. You discovered quantum mechanics but abandoned it as too unpredictable, too inefficient compared to your conventional technology. You never imagined that another species might find ways to master what you dismissed as impossible. To demonstrate his point, the Prometheus phased partially out of normal spacetime, passing straight through the eternal dominance's supposedly impenetrable shields. The Meridian crew watched in stunned silence as a human ship literally ghosted through their most advanced defensive systems, as if they didn't exist. Commander James Chen, coordinating the quantum fleet's movements, allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. All ships, execute pattern Omega. Show our visitors exactly what they've been missing. 20 human vessels moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum drives allowing them to ignore traditional laws of momentum and inertia. They danced through space in ways the Meridian's tactical computers insisted were impossible, their movements coordinated through instantaneous quantum communications that couldn't be detected or blocked. In the Meridian Command Center, Vexnor received increasingly panicked reports from their fleet. Human ships were appearing inside their defensive perimeters at will, completely immune to their most advanced tracking systems. Weapons that had subjugated 17 other species proved useless against vessels that could simply shift out of normal spacetime the instant before impact. Perhaps now, Sarah Chen's voice carried across all frequencies. You understand why we maintained our deception. Your civilization's arrogance made you predictable. While you thought you were evaluating us, we were learning everything about your technology, your tactics, your assumptions about what was and wasn't possible. To emphasize her point, the quantum grid surrounding Earth pulsed once. Every meridian system within the solar system temporarily shut down as their energy fields were disrupted by principles their science couldn't explain. Ships that had proudly served in countless campaigns found themselves drifting, their mighty engines silenced by human technology that operated on a completely different level. Don't worry, Maya's voice held a trace of amusement. The effect is temporary. Consider it a demonstration of what we could do if we actually wanted to fight. Admiral Santos opened a direct channel to the Meridian High Command. Your civilization has spent centuries believing you had reached the pinnacle of technological achievement. You approached other species not as equals to be learned from, but as primitives to be guided and controlled. Today, that changes. Throughout the solar system, human quantum ships continued their elaborate dance around the helpless Meridian fleet. Each movement demonstrated capabilities the aliens had dismissed as impossible. Each maneuver showed mastery of principles they had abandoned centuries ago. Humanity, Santos continued, extends an offer to the Meridian Collective, not of submission, not of guidance, but of genuine exchange. You have much to teach us about conventional technology, just as we have much to share about the quantum realm you abandoned. The Meridian High Command watched in silence as their fleet systems gradually came back online. The demonstration had been perfect, overwhelming but deliberately non-destructive. Humanity had shown they could have destroyed the Meridian ships at any time, but chose instead to prove their point without bloodshed. Your civilization's greatest strength, Sarah added, has become your greatest weakness. You believe so completely in your superiority that you never considered other paths of advancement. Never imagined that a primitive species might develop technology that operated on completely different principles. The quantum grid pulsed again, this time projecting a massive holographic display visible to every ship in the solar system. It showed the true extent of human advancement. Vast networks of quantum-linked facilities throughout the solar system, ships that could ignore normal laws of physics, and weapons that could strike through any conventional defense. The choice is yours, Santos concluded. Continue believing in your superiority and leave Earth's space forever, or accept that humanity has something to teach you. Become true partners in expanding the boundaries of science and technology. High Commander Vexnor stared at their disabled fleet, at the human ships that defied everything they thought they knew about physics, and made their decision. The age of Meridian supremacy was over. A new era of galactic civilization was about to begin. New Dawn. 1 year after humanity's revelation of their true capabilities, the landscape of galactic civilization had changed forever. The Great Hall of the newly established Quantum Classical Exchange Center on Mars hosted representatives from 30 different species, including former Meridian subject races, now free to pursue their own paths of development. Dr. Maya Patel stood at the central podium, surrounded by holographic displays, showing the impossible becoming possible as quantum and conventional technologies merged in ways nobody had imagined before. The Meridian scientists in the audience, once so certain of their superiority, now watched with undisguised fascination as she demonstrated principles that shattered their previous understanding of physics. The quantum realm isn't a dead end, she explained, her words translated instantly through the new quantum-enhanced communication systems. It's a gateway to possibilities that neither humans nor Meridians could have achieved alone. Our greatest strength lies not in dominance, but in collaboration. In orbit above Mars, Commander James Chen watched from the bridge of the QSS Normandy as ships of various species maneuvered through space, some using conventional drives, others experimenting with early quantum technology developed through cooperation with Earth. The Meridian vessels, once symbols of oppression, now served alongside human ships in joint exploration missions. Quantum signature detected, his sensor officer reported. New Meridian human hybrid vessel emerging from the Jupiter shipyards. The ship that appeared was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, a perfect fusion of Meridian energy manipulation technology and human quantum engineering. It represented hundreds of hours of collaboration between species that just a year ago had been locked in a tense standoff. Back on Earth, Director Sarah Chen and Ambassador Zixtal stood in the quantum observation chamber beneath Mount Chen, watching real-time displays of galaxy-wide developments. The former Meridian diplomats' biomechanical interfaces had been upgraded with quantum processors, allowing them to perceive reality in ways their species had never thought possible. We were blind, Zixtal admitted, their outer membrane rippling with a mixture of shame and excitement. For centuries, we believed technological progress could only follow one path. We nearly missed the greatest discovery in our civilization's history because of our own arrogance. Sarah nodded, remembering the tense days of deception and revelation that had led to this moment. The greatest discoveries often come when we question our most basic assumptions. Humanity spent centuries preparing for first contact, not just by developing technology, but by learning to think differently about what was possible. Admiral Santos, monitoring operations from the Quantum Command Center on Titan, received reports from across the galaxy. The 17 species previously under Meridian control were developing their own unique paths of advancement, some following Earth's quantum route, others pursuing entirely new directions that combine various technological approaches. The galaxy is changing, he remarked to Maya through their quantum link, not through force or dominance, but through the free exchange of ideas. The quantum grid that had once been humanity's secret weapon now served as the backbone of a new galactic communication network. Species that had never been able to communicate effectively now shared discoveries and insights in real time, each contributing their unique perspective to the advancement of science and technology. In the Meridian home system, the once rigid hierarchy of technological development had been replaced by a more open, collaborative approach. Young Meridians worked alongside human quantum physicists, while Earth scientists learned the intricacies of advanced energy manipulation from their former adversaries. "We thought we were coming to guide a primitive species," Zixtel said, watching a group of Meridian and human children playing with quantum-enhanced educational tools. "Instead, you taught us the greatest lesson of all. That true advancement comes not from domination, but from diversity of thought." The quantum displays showed similar scenes playing out across the galaxy. Species that had once lived in fear of Meridian evaluation now freely pursued their own paths of development. The rigid structure of technological hierarchy had been replaced by a vibrant network of collaboration and mutual discovery. Commander Chen, preparing for another joint mission with Meridian forces, reflected on how much had changed. The quantum ships that had once hidden from Meridian patrols now worked alongside them, exploring the boundaries of what was possible when different approaches to science and technology were combined. "Ready for quantum jump," his navigator reported. "Proceed," Chen ordered, watching as human and Meridian ships alike engaged their hybrid drives, leaping across space in ways that would have been dismissed as impossible just a year ago. In the Great Hall on Mars, Maya concluded her presentation to thunderous applause from multiple species. The Quantum Classical Exchange Program had already produced advances that neither humans nor Meridians could have achieved alone. It was proof that the greatest breakthroughs came not from superiority, but from cooperation. "The future," she announced, looking out at the diverse audience, "belongs not to those who insist their path is the only way forward, but to those who are willing to learn from each other. Together, we're not just advancing technology. We're advancing civilization itself." The quantum grid pulsed once, its energy signature rippling across the solar system. But now, instead of being a weapon of deterrence, it served as a beacon of hope, a symbol of what was possible when species came together not as rulers and subjects, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, discovery.